This is KPPQ LP Ventura, 104.1 FM, and we're in the Women's Room, where we appreciate and support each other. I'm your host, Kathleen Good. Today's guest is Elizabeth Rodeno, director and co-creator of CAPS Radio, our very own public community radio station, KPPQ, and a woman who just loves radio. I asked Elizabeth to come into the Women's Room to give us an update on the radio station, which was her brainchild and is now about 7 months old. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
As usual, so happy to have you here, and this time to update us. Now, first of all, I want you to tell our listener why you love radio.
Oh, gosh. I love radio because it's a great opportunity to share. Share what you like, share your stories, share your music with other people. And it's, I'm comfortable behind the mic. And, I think it's a real easy way to get in and have people, perform and share.
And do you personally like to listen to the radio?
I listen to radio all the time.
Do you?
All the time.
Oh, wow. You go home from the media center here and then listen to radio.
I listen to radio. I listen to radio in my car a lot.
I've heard that a lot of people like to listen to KPPQ in their cars.
Yes, I think, I know I do, but I think it's sort of the best venue right now to listen to it.
Wow.
We all have radios in our cars. A lot of people don't have radios at home anymore. So it's great to get tuned in and a good opportunity to catch up on, what's happening in the community.
Yeah. Perhaps you could also give a short background for our listener who doesn't know the story of KPPQ.
Okay. Well, I'll kind of go over an overview about what KPPQ is. We're a low-power FM station.
Uh-huh.
And the FCC has granted licenses for, right now we have about 2,000 low-power FM stations across the country. Our wattage ranges from 10 to 100 watts. Our listening audience is within 5 to 7 miles of CAPS Media Center and our station in the tower. We really were lucky that the FCC decided to begin licensing low-power FM stations. Actually, the reason they did that is because prior to that, pirate radio was becoming really prevalent.
What is pirate radio?
Pirate radios are radio stations that people are broadcasting without any license.
Oh.
And it's been going on a long time, but the FCC really decided they wanted to get that in control.
Uh-huh.
And so this way they provided licenses to a variety of stations and sort of helped bring community radio in and take care of pirate radio stations.
How did you happen to hear about it?
The community media world is very in tune with radio and feels that it's a real important part of community media, and it's media. And so, a big group of community media centers, followed up and we sort of went through the process in order to get an FCC license for the radio station. And it brought people from the community together.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a real interest in the community sharing their voices and stories,
mm-hmm.
And taking advantage of our First Amendment, making sure that, we have a voice. And so this just kind of, falls in line with the television channels and, training people to produce their own media.
Right. And the good thing about radio is, though, you don't have to pay any extra fees. You don't have to subscribe. You can just pick it up through the air.
Correct. Right. So it is very, it's, what's the word? Anyway, it's, it's offered to everybody.
Right.
Regardless of your socioeconomic level and, so it's great.
Right. A lot of young people who can't afford cable right now, or they want, use their phones and social media. So we've given them a new access.
Right.
I heard you mention First Amendment, freedom of speech. we're all here working for public media and for that freedom of speech. I was wondering if, in your own words, you could describe what an organization like CAPS Media can do for our right to have this freedom of speech.
I think because of the commercialization of media, large companies, large corporations owning media, really, this existing really provides an opportunity for people to speak their mind and share their voice, and where we haven't always had that opportunity. And I think, the local news and local radio is falling by the wayside. It's really become, we're covering national, international news. We're not covering local community events,
Right.
The issues that are important in the community. And so this is a great way to do it.
Right, right. I heard the statistic that about 1/3 of your programming is now local. And I'm very impressed with that number for a radio station so young.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I'd say 1/3 maybe pushing it a little bit. But no, we have over 12 DJs, hosts, producing programming. And it's a wide variety of programming, from music to talk, such as your show, covering a whole range of issues. And, music shows encompass a wide variety of different styles.
So I'm just looking at the program right here, and I see this program, Around America's Table, scheduled. And I wonder, what is this one about? I thought, food or maybe diversity. Could you tell us a little bit about this particular program?
Yeah, Around America's Table is a show produced by Judy Gillard. And it's really about food and friendship, focusing on local cuisine and, local issues in the food world, food and agricultural world.
And what about The Face of Ventura? That sounds interesting.
Yeah. The Face of Ventura is a show by Sheldon Brown, and it features the faces of Ventura, from the city manager, the mayor, chief of police, to introducing local nonprofits and their missions, and such as the Rubicon Botanical Gardens, Music Festival. Yeah, to name a couple of them.
The museum, maybe?
Yes, the museum. And then another show we have is called Going Local, and that's also a show focusing on the agricultural community, and local industries, as well as some music. And it's a whole different kind of show, but covering a lot of really Ventura focused issues.
Right. Well, here's one I heard in my own car and I thought was great. Art and Stuff. In fact, I sat in the car when I arrived at the store just to listen to the end of it. Now, what's this one about?
Oh, great. Well, Art and Stuff is about the local artists in Ventura, and it's a wide range of interviews with different artists, from, two-dimensional artists, three-dimensional artists, poets, and writers. It's a wonderful kind of look into, that sort of artistic area of Ventura.
And we have the Pam Baumgartner Music Hour. Right? That's pretty self-explanatory. But perhaps you could tell us where Venturans may have come into contact with Pam's work before.
Oh, okay. Well, the Pam Baumgartner Music Show features a lot of local artists, and she says it's artists from the 805 and those who pass through here. So she, she's featuring a lot of local bands, talks about performances in the local community. So it's, really just fulfills our mission. And it's great to spread the word about who we have here in the community.
Right. And I bet the artists, the bands are really happy to be featured, too. So what kind of music does she play?
Oh, it's a huge range.
Oh, a range.
So I would say from punk to jazz to hard rock to banjo. I mean, she covers everything that our community offers.
And we have the Ventura History Hour and My Father's Stories. Now, I get some idea what that's about, but could you talk a little bit more?
Sure. CAPS Media and the staff here have been producing a variety of locally focused history programs about interesting and influential families in Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
So our show is Ventura Legacies, and we've also been able to broadcast what's considered My Father's Stories, which was an old public access show that interviewed a variety of people throughout the Saticoy area. So it's really the history of Ventura County and Saticoy. And one of our members, who was the son of this gentleman who produced the shows, brought them to us. And, we just really enjoy listening to these, really interesting old timers.
Right. My neighbor, who is born and raised here on a ranch in Ventura, knows the guy who he's like in his, he's gone now, but she also knows his wife. They're in their 90s. And she's been telling me about these video productions for a long time. So it was kind of cool to meet the son who's now, bringing them back to us.
Right. And it's great because we get to use our video productions on the air. On the radio. So it's great to repurpose, really interesting stories and make sure that, get the opportunity to share it with a variety of audiences.
Well, and I think it's especially important right now when, there's a tendency to not pay too much attention to history. And I think that's very important. Mm-hmm. So, what about training? I know that you do training. I've done some training with you. Let's say one of our listeners has always kind of been toying with the idea of doing a radio show, and she has important things to say. Now, how can she get involved? Tell us about the wonderful training you provide.
Okay. Well, it's really easy to join. So we have you join as a member of CAPS, and then as a member of CAPS Radio, and go through 2 sessions. It's pretty simple. We have two 2-hour training sessions, and which covers, from the legal aspects, the station policy aspects, and then we go in and we come in here into the studio, and Evan trains you on, all the equipment and how to operate it, and then you get to play in the studio for a little bit.
Well, I'm going to just interrupt you here so we can do a station ID, but I have more questions about the training. Okay. This is KPPQ LP Ventura, 104.1 FM, and we're in the Women's Room, where we appreciate and support each other. I'm your host, Kathleen Good. Our guest today is Elizabeth Rodeno, director and co-creator of CAPS Radio, our very own public community radio station, KPPQ, and a woman who just loves radio. I asked Elizabeth to come into the Women's Room to give us an update on the radio station, which was her brainchild and is now about 7 months old. And we're back. So we're just talking about the training, and you told us that Evan actually shows you how to use all the equipment. And what else does the training consist of?
And our second part of the training is how to structure a show, and then some performance techniques and some improv to get you up to speed behind the mic.
So you really kind of cover all the things needed. So now, do you have to be a member of CAPS Media?
Right. So you have to be a member of CAPS Media, which is $25 a year. And then you join the radio, which CAPS Radio, which is $50 a year as a membership fee. And that includes all the training as well as studio time.
So do you need special talents to do a radio show? I mean, is it kind of limited to certain types of people?
No, I think that all you need really is the desire and a commitment to tell a story, and just bring your interest and enthusiasm. And that's what you need. We'll train you, to do everything else.
Okay, so listener out there, if you're interested in sharing your thoughts, your stories, your ideas, your opinions, you can come over to CAPS. So would you say it's pretty difficult to, operate the board and talk into the mic? And
I don't know. What do you think, Kathy?
Throw that one back at me. No, it's not too hard. It's actually, in fact, Elizabeth and I started out doing a test broadcast, and I said, why don't we just use this? Because it just worked. So, yeah, I think if, I can pick up this technical aspect, which is not too technical, I think just about anybody can.
Right. I think we've set it up so that you can sit here and you can produce your own show. You can come in, sit behind the console, walk out with a completed show. And, we put it on the air right away. We're not yet live, but we're looking to, working our way up to going live.
Okay. So, could anybody broadcast a show if they have I think we kind of covered this, but let me, ask you again. If they have the will and a little training.
That's all you need.
And
that's all you need.
So we're looking for local people who want to share and be part of our great democracy and our freedom of speech. Now, would you tell us a little bit about the role Lynn Fairley, who is a well-known radio podcaster, plays at CAPS Radio?
Okay, well, she's been a real champion of the station. And she runs the second portion of our training, which includes improv as well as structuring and branding your show. And I think she really provides a really great addition to CAPS Radio.
Yeah, I've gone to a couple of her trainings. They were so good. She really, puts you through the paces and teaches you how to use your voice. And where to find your voice.
Right,
it's really a lot of fun. And what I particularly liked about her, not only her knowledge and her, she's really good at teaching this, but she's very reinforcing. She says, if she's having people stand up and say something, or she said, and when somebody can't find their voice, she'll say, we all want you to succeed. We all want you to succeed. And that is so encouraging. I just find her great.
That's great. Yes. We think she's awesome.
So you mentioned a little bit at the beginning of the program, what's the broadcast area for KPPQ?
Okay. We broadcast 100 watts. Our frequency is 104.1 FM. Our range is between 5 and 7 miles. So we range from on the east end of Ventura around Kimball to the 33 on the west end, and of course the mountains to the ocean, and down to Port Hueneme. You can also hear us in certain areas of Oxnard and Camarillo. And when you're coming down the grade from Newbury Park, you can hear us pretty loud and clear.
Yeah, my husband just drove out there the other day, and he could hear he said it started breaking up way past Newbury Park, but he could hear it out there. We all have our car radios set to 104.1 FM.
Thank you. You better.
Yeah. So I have a friend who lives out on the east side, beyond Kimball, who can't get the broadcast on her home radio. Do you know why? And what can these people do if they can't get KPPQ on the radio at home?
Okay, great. Well, because of the nature of our frequency and our range, they won't be able to get it. However, we are planning on streaming beginning in September.
Oh.
And so they'll be able to find us on the web, going through our website, capsmedia.org. And go to the radio page, and there'll be a button there, and you can start listening to our stream. Right.
And again, it's just like the radio. You don't have to sit and watch it. Sometimes I put, make little videos of our radio broadcasts and put them up. And when I send it to people, I say, you don't even have to watch it. You can just listen to this. It's the old-fashioned way. You can do things like, housework, dishes, even be on the computer while you're taking in local information. So, Elizabeth, what's the most satisfying aspect of working with our new radio station?
I think for me, it's a real pleasure that we're up and on the air, that Evan and I work very hard to, bring this station to the community. And it's really wonderful for me to work with all the producers here at KPPQ. And it's great to see them having fun and, producing shows that they're really proud of.
Mm-hmm.
You produce a really great show, and I know
thank you.
You walk out of here really happy with the shows you produce.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I am.
And I'm looking forward to attracting more producers and definitely want to increase our listenership. And we're new. So sending people over to 104.1, is our next big push.
Oh, well, I can say that one of the most satisfying aspects for myself doing the show is the people that I meet, that I call up or get referrals to and ask if they want to be on the show. And we usually get together a little bit ahead of time to, talk about where they're at and what talking points. I just find it really a lot of fun to meet new people locally. And sometimes we end up having coffee or lunch or something. It's great.
Yeah, there are a lot of really fascinating people in this community.
Yeah, there are. It's and this is one way to find them. So what are some of the frustrating sides of the work? I mean, nothing's ever 100% great, but...
Well, I think, getting out there, getting the word out that we're here, I think is, I wouldn't say it's frustrating, but it's, it's a real challenge, and that's something that I really want to, push. And also, I'm looking for volunteers to help support the station, because this is a volunteer station. We really want the community to come in and not only produce shows, but help support us. And I have several volunteers who are coming in helping me with programming and administrative duties, and then, looking to go out in the community and be more visible.
So if you're interested, if you don't want to be a DJ or a host, you could always be a volunteer. So, Elizabeth, I can't wait to hear what future plans you're working on for CAPS Radio.
Well, as I said, I'm looking to bring us out into the community, and, broadcasting from the community, being at events, and sharing those events.
So what kind of events?
Well, I'm looking at bringing us out to, local events such as farmers markets and city events, and think that that's a great way for people to listen to the station and, and meet us, meet you, and get to know what community radio is all about.
Oh, okay. So you do have more programming. We pretty much kind of covered some of the morning programming. Tell us some more about the afternoon programming.
Okay, great. Well, we are Pacifica affiliate, which means that we are part of a grassroots radio organization covering thousands of radio stations across the country. And we all share programming. And so a great opportunity for us to use broadcast programming from all over the country, different walks of life, shows ranging from health and fitness to money managing to stories. We have radio theater, documentaries.
I see that.
Filmmaking, shows about filmmaking.
Oh, yeah, that sounds really good.
So
since I do that as well.
Right. So, a wide variety of programming, and we also broadcast Democracy Now!, and that's out of New York, which is a, national, international news program. We broadcast that at noon and at 6 p.m. And as well, I have a few music shows from around the country that, we air as well. So, it's a huge range.
Huge range. So I'm wondering, are we going to be having local news here, Ventura news on the station?
I think right now we're really focusing on, community producers and community programming. News is a whole different ballgame, and when we get to expand, a lot of the local community stations have news departments. And so, we're looking down the line. I think that students, high school and college students, are a really great source of producers to produce news and sports. So we're looking down that way. I really want to encourage those students to, get involved and use their journalism skills, develop their journalism skills, producing, daily news, and sports.
Yeah. So you've told me that you've gone on quite a number of field trips to learn about radio stations, and recently a conference for
Yes.
the Alliance of Community Media. What was that like?
So, the tours were great. We got to visit a couple of community media centers that had radio stations associated with them. And so it was wonderful to see how they train their DJs and to just get an idea of their involvement and engagement. And they've been around a while, so they have a huge group of people involved. But it's really wonderful to see how they work, and that was very helpful for Evan and I when we were building the station.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry. I know that you have been involved in radio for a long time, and since you were quite young. Could you tell us about that?
I was very interested in the music business, and when I was younger, and then when I went to college, I went to college in part because I wanted to get into college radio.
Ah.
So I spent a lot of time in the radio station, and volunteered for other radio stations once I graduated, and had an opportunity to spend some time at some local local community radio stations in Pasadena and LA. And, it was great to see how powerful this medium is.
Could you talk about how powerful the media is?
Well, like I said before, it's easy for people to get in and share their stories, right? I mean, it's an easy, it's easier to do than video. Not to say that video isn't a powerful medium as well. But, if you're interested in producing something and getting your voice out, this is a great place to start.
Right, right. There's something kind of hypnotic about listening to people. Would you say that?
Yeah. I mean, it is a wonderful feeling to hear people share their stories. And it's really, when you listen and you don't have visuals, it's very powerful. The word is very powerful.
Right, right. Well, I imagine, as I do, people have to form their own mental images rather than just look at somebody else's.
Yeah.
So is there any other programming that we do here?
Gosh.
I see Johnny Petrol here now. Is that a program about gas?
No, that's a music program of a couple of other music programs. Wide range, featuring a wide range from rock and roll to 90s music to real avant-garde and performance art, as well as a little hip hop. And, it's a huge range, and it's great because these DJs are so impassioned by producing music and sharing their skills and enjoyment to the community.
Well, we have just a minute or two left. Do you have anything you'd like to say to wrap up?
Well, I guess I'd like to encourage people to explore, come and learn about radio. We have training classes. It's the fourth Wednesday and Thursday of the month.
Mm-hmm. So do they have to sign up?
And they can call and sign up. And, give us a call at 658-0500.
Okay.
You can email us at radio@capsmedia.org. And then on our website, we have a radio page. So you can go on to capsmedia.org, and it's, I think, /radio for all the information.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Well, thank you, Elizabeth. It's good to get this update.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Oh, you're the brains behind this operation. So this is KPPQ LP Ventura, 104.1 FM, and we're in the Women's Room, where we appreciate and support each other. I'm your host, Kathleen Good. I'd like to give you the times that In the Women's Room is broadcast, and that will be on Monday at 8 in the morning, Tuesday, 2 in the afternoon, maybe when you're out running your errands, Wednesday, again, 8 in the morning. You tune in while you're finishing breakfast. And Saturday, 1 o'clock. So I'd like to thank our today's guest, who is Elizabeth Rodeno, director and co-creator of CAPS Radio, our very own public community radio station, KPPQ, and a woman who loves radio. I asked Elizabeth to come into the women's room to give us an update on the radio station, which was her brainchild and is now about 7 months old. You can get more information from Elizabeth by going to Facebook, CAPS Media, or email her at radio.capsmedia.org, or you can call 658-0500, and we'll see you next time in the women's room.